Department of University Education for the work that has been done. I want to emphasize two things before I invite Professor Chacha. One, through this audit, we've also learned a lot. There are a number of things we need to do. There are a number of challenges in our university education sector in the country. We have agreed jointly that we are going to work on these challenges one by one to ensure that we provide Kenyans the opportunity that they all look forward to participating, getting quality education in our universities. We have observed from the audit that was conducted by CUE that investment in the university education sector in our country are almost unrivaled in this region. Our universities have done very well. You have noticed the ranking where globally and continentally some of our universities are doing well. Some of our new private universities have come up with very innovative programs that are already making headlines elsewhere in the continent, and some of our schools from private universities have introduced new energy, new innovation, new focus in the provision of university education, and we are very grateful. And that's why as government we have slowly and we remain determined to erase that line between public and private, because we want to focus on how we provide university education to our young people in the country. So going forward, we will continue working together with the teams that we have here. This is a process that we have begun jointly with all the stakeholders in the university sector. This is a very rare meeting to find chancellors, chairs of council and vice chancellors all in one room, focused on one topic, which is the quality of our university education, and we've had very useful discussions in this meeting. Lastly, we will build on this as we go forward. We are going to have regular meetings. Professor Chacha will tell you how we have decided we are going to implement this report, and in the implementation of this report we will now focus on constant, consultative, inclusive, cross-sectoral meetings that bring together everyone so that we can sustain the conversation on improving the quality of our university education. I would like to assure Kenyan students in our universities and Kenyan parents and guardians and sponsors that we are determined as government, working with all these stakeholders, to continue to provide a vibrant learning university environment. Whatever challenges we face and whatever issues we need to deal with, we have now built a strong partnership with all these stakeholders to face those challenges and face those issues collectively and ensure that we consistently improve the quality of our education, strengthen our university sector so that we can maintain our leadership position in the provision of university education in the country, in the region, in the continent and in the globe. We want to continue to be effective participants in the provision of university education. So I'm grateful on behalf of government to all these stakeholders for the amount of work that has been done, and I dare say I am actually satisfied with the work that has been done and the conversation we've had this morning, and I look forward to building on it as we move into the future, and you will see the results yourselves as we move forward. Our universities are going to be improved. We will improve the quality of the work we do, and the reform trajectory on which we have now begun will remain, will gather pace, and we will continue on it until we realize the objective of a sustainable quality education in Kenya. Let me invite Professor Chacha, the chairperson of the commission, who will give you a summary of the deliberations and the observations from the audit. And I think in the interest of time, because we've kept these colleagues here for over 4 hours in the meeting, we'll probably take not more than 3 questions, because the summary of our deliberations is going to be circulated to you verbatim so that you can look at it, and then we will continue the conversation in future as we go along. Professor Chacha.
Should I go?
No, move.
Thank you very much, Bwana Cabinet Secretary. We are pleased also to have the Fourth Estate people here. We undertook this exercise as part of our responsibility as Commission for University Education. So it is not extraordinary. the role of the Commission, the mandate of the Commission requires that from time to time, periodically, a quality audit is undertaken in universities to affirm and assure all stakeholders, students, parents, the government, employers, that the education that is offered in the university is of quality. When we undertook this exercise, it was interactive. It involved panels which visited the universities to get the information, the feedback, after the universities had been given an opportunity to respond on the issues that were being raised on quality matters, as had been articulated through a number of pronouncements, including the pronouncement by the Cabinet Secretary. Following this exercise, there was an exit report that was confirmed by each university that was audited. And it is this exit report that was used to create an analysis and an evaluation that we have tabled to each university as an individual document. Collectively, we met here with the vice chancellors, chancellors, chairmen of councils of all the universities involved, and the cabinet secretary with a team from the ministry, and myself with a team from the Commission for University Education, with the commissioners present and the secretariat. We have deliberated on the findings. We have talked about the issues which were raised. We have given the floor, members who are here, an opportunity to interact, and we have raised concerns, but they have also been able to be addressed. Amicably, we have agreed to move forward to ensure that the quality of university education in this country is enhanced, and there will be a number of actions that will be undertaken individually by the universities and some by the Commission for University Education, and together with the guidance from the ministry, we have agreed to form a joint quality assurance working group. And this quality assurance working group is not mentioned in the press statement, which you may have a copy already, is the thing which will guide the way forward in terms of determining the timelines of implementation, agreeing on the issues that we must continually interrogate as a country in relation to university education. And eventually, we trust that our university education, in terms of the issues and questions that the public has been raising or the employers have been raising, will adequately be addressed, and the universities are ready and prepared, and they have the capacity to address all the areas which are of concern. I think since a copy of my press release is already given to you, I would like Mr. Cabinet Secretary to end there and invite any question, as you have guided the few questions that will come from the press.
All right. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Very good. Yes, please.
When we talk of quality within our university, we are narrowing down, matters of research. Do our universities do research? And it's supposed to be, where do we rank our universities when it comes to matters of research, in whatever kind of field? Then, another that I would want the minister to Cabinet Secretary to respond to is in regards to the ongoing strike.
What do you want to say? What do you want me to say about it?
When we expect students back to class, or when we talk about kind of how to say things will work out, you are later, weeks later, they are not back in class. When should they expect to come to class?
Okay. Do our universities conduct research? Yes, they do. Absolutely. I mean, we've just had 3 Kenyan universities winning a huge research grant under the African Centers of Excellence, AC2. We have 3 of our universities that have won huge research grants. They're each going to get 600 million shillings to conduct research. Our universities are engaged in research constantly, as it were. So it's difficult to enumerate, every research that is going on. Even as I speak to you right now, we have graduate students in our universities across the board, public and private, who are engaged in the conduct of research in the country. I could go on and on about this. I have, in my experience in government, worked with our universities that have supported us in doing research and doing work related to research. It is the University of Nairobi that supported us when we were doing a cadastral survey at Konza, for example, and many research activities going on by universities. The University of Nairobi's School of Medicine is engaged in research across the board. The work that is being done by Moi University in the textile sector, the work that is being done by Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University right now, together with the CPA and a number of other institutions. Our private universities are engaged in a lot of great work that is going on. You know, of course, the ICT work that is being done at Strathmore University, at Catholic University of East Africa, the programs that are going on in these universities. Our universities are engaged in research throughout. So the question of the strike, I want you to understand one thing. The way we would like to manage affairs is to be institutional in the way things are done. I am aware, for example, that the university employees in general, not just the lecturers, the employees in the university who are employed by the councils are engaged in constant conversations with the councils, which is the right thing that should happen. And I am satisfied that a lot of good work has happened. In fact, one of the unions just signed a CBA this morning. And those conversations are going on. I am aware that teaching is going on in quite a number of universities. And I'm satisfied with the framework of negotiation that is going on between the leadership of the universities and the leaders of the unions. And there's already a joint negotiating committee in place that is working on that. Let us respect the law, respect the institutional infrastructure we have in the country, and respect the governance framework we have in our universities. I am not worried about anything. I'm satisfied about what is happening, and the tone, the manner in which the negotiations are being conducted is very respectful, and I respect the union leaders and the leaders of our universities in the discussions they're having. So I am hopeful that those that are not teaching, because I am in constant touch with many of our colleagues, those that are not teaching will go back to teach, not because the court has considered or ruled that the strike is illegal, but because they understand there is no need to do that, because an offer has been made to them and negotiations are going on, and we are looking forward to an amicable end to the issue, and we would not like to prolong acrimony by making sideline comments when negotiations are going on. Thank you.
Considering the ongoing lecture strike. So I was just asking, what is the ministry's plans and how they plan to handle those issues? That is also including the plans that the ministry has to take care of universities that previously said had or issued policy fees.
I get asked this question all the time, and I think I look at this opportunity as an opportunity to try to help educate you about something I think you need to know. Because last Friday, again, I was in a public function when a journalist asked me this. And I'm a public official, so I can't be impatient with you. I have to help you understand this. Universities are run by councils. There's a structure. We have a governance structure that manages universities. Please welcome to modern Kenya, because we are a rule of law environment. We want to operate in that kind of regard. I cannot issue directives to a governing council of a university. I cannot issue directives to the chancellor or to the vice chancellor. There are discussions going on within a very structured framework and an institutionalized framework in the universities. It would actually be totally unthinkable for the minister to instruct councils and to instruct vice chancellors and to instruct everybody. That era is gone. It is not there anymore. We respect institutions and work within the framework of the institutions. Every lecturer who works in Kenya has got a letter of appointment from the council of their university. The letter of appointment is not by the Ministry of Education. So I would be out of order, and I don't want to be out of order, if I started instructing councils and so on what they need to do. I am satisfied with the leadership of the universities and the university councils. And those details about increase, about this, the era when the executive branch of government was the all-knowing entity is gone. Even we operate within a framework of the law. I can't call Professor Mbiti now and start instructing him about who he should give an increase and what kind of increase. That is totally out of order. And therefore, that is a question which even vice chancellors, by the way, and chairs of council cannot answer collectively. It is individual universities that deal with their employees and discuss those kinds of issues. So I expect that you and every Kenyan will understand that that is how we want to operate. Employees of our university sit down, and the structures are there. I was even being asked the question about this matter of Kirinyaga that everybody keeps throwing up every time. There is a structure. Students are disciplined in a university through the chain. Senate takes a decision, you go to council, then there is the vice chancellor, then there is the chancellor, and all this is a structure through which issues are dealt with. We can't rush in, and start instructing vice chancellors and councils and everybody. It's bad manners, and we don't want to do it. Omar. They're rolling the report on it, and it's going to get to them.
I want to assure you that the findings and recommendations are found in a document. I don't know if you haven't been given, it will be given as you exit, but I will circulate it. So that addresses your first question. Your second question about implementation, I want to assure you, and I want to assure Kenyans, that this time round, in terms of what we are doing, we are going to be inclusive. We are going to agree on the way forward and the implementation. If we don't implement, we'll think. So the reason why we undertook this exercise was to address the concerns that all of you have been raising through the press, sometimes through the classrooms, sometimes, and through the discussions in various places. We believe that we have attempted to address the issues, and we also believe that we have found the way forward, because all universities which are operating in Kenya are in this room. And during our conversation, we have agreed on the way forward, including forming that joint quality assurance working group. And from that standpoint, this joint quality assurance working group will be constituted today. It is representative of the chancellors, vice chancellors, chairmen of councils of universities, and we provide the secretariat and the convening arrangements. We will continue guiding as per the law, because all these exercises that the Commission for University Education undertakes is informed by the University Act 2012, which was amended in 2016. If you are unfamiliar to that law, then you need to familiarize yourself with the law.
I think Professor has answered the question. We will implement the report. Part of the promise we made last year that we are going to undertake serious focus on quality in the universities is exactly what you are seeing. It culminated in the special audit. Then from the special audit we go to the implementation of the report. We will be methodical, we will be lawful, and we will ensure that we do everything the right way. Because I will not lie to you, and all these people in this room know this. We have certain serious challenges that have been pointed out by the audit. We have looked at them. When you look at the report, you will see them, and you will see the recommendations of the Commission. Our undertaking as government is that we will ensure that the recommendations have been implemented, and we want to do so within an inclusive framework. That's why we are forming the Joint Quality Assurance Working Group, so that when we are taking action on some of these, We are seated at the same table with the vice chancellors, with the chancellors, and we are working on this together as we move forward. So we will implement the audit, and we are ready to be held to account on this particular issue. Two more.
During the audit, there are many questions that were raised by you on issues of people who have what have been found, and secondly, what have been indicated.
You are just trying to draw me back into that conversation of what has been found out by the audit. You will receive the report. It is true, as I said last year, and the audit has found out that there are cases where we probably would have done better in terms of enrolling students, in terms of those that we awarded degrees and so on. That is what we are going to work on in terms of implementation. And you will see a meticulous explanation by the Chair of Council in a statement that he has put out on behalf of the Commission for University Education on how we are going to implement this. Of course, we cannot tolerate, and we are not going back, and we will never go back on the issue of ensuring that our universities are providing quality education. Where people have been awarded degrees that they do not deserve, it is going to be looked at on a case-by-case basis, and it will be reviewed in that kind of manner. The right action is going to be taken. What we must state to everybody, and this is something that everyone has got to know, is an issue on which we are not going to negotiate. The law has got to be followed. We have a law in this country, and there is a way in which we are supposed to operate. We will not have institutions that give degrees to people who do not qualify to get those degrees. But there is method to the way we will do it. And that method is what we have been discussing here among ourselves, and we are going to follow the law to the letter in doing this. But the right thing must be done. The right thing, which is we ensure that people are awarded degrees when they deserve to be awarded degrees. We are diluting the quality of our education and interfering with the image of our university education. And this does not just affect those who are being awarded degrees. It affects everyone in Kenya. It affects our country. So it's something that we have to deal with, and we are going to deal with it. Last question. Yes.
Okay, let's come to the relationship between the government and public universities. You just mentioned that you want to remove the line between public universities and private universities. You want the two institutions to be one. But when it comes to public universities, we mostly rely on government financial support. And today in one of the dailies, the institutions, public institutions are a bit worried that the government might be reducing funding. I would like for you to address as to how that is going to be dealt when it comes to looking into the quality of education in Kenya. There is that private universities are doing really well because of the financial support they do generate for themselves. But most public universities rely on parallel programs and other ventures in order to support themselves. Please address that.
Well, all these good people in the room would be happy if you had a longer session so that we give you a little bit of background induction on how this game works. But anyway, one, there was no intention on the part of government or anywhere to reduce funding to universities. I can tell you, and you can take this to the bank, as Cabinet Secretary of Education, I can tell you, we discussed this, we have made our proposals in the budget. Cabinet has just looked at the proposals that we are making in the budget. There is no reduction. On the funding that we are giving universities. In fact, if anything, in certain cases we have increased, we have enhanced funding to universities on certain fronts. We intend to put more money for student loans, for example. We intend to put more money to support research and so on. So I do not know where anyone is getting information that says we are reducing funding to universities. I am not aware of it. And this I am, for the time being, the person responsible for that docket. Take it from me. There is no intention anywhere to reduce funding to universities. It is a foolish thing to do, and no one would do it, and this government is not doing it. Number one. Number two, the idea of erasing the line between public and private. This is a statement that I'm making in a figurative way, and let me give you a very basic explanation that you would understand. If you went to an American university that is private, run by a faith-based organization or by a foundation or by a family or whatever the case may be, you would find that the students are sponsored by government study there. When you make policy, you don't make policy for public and policy for private universities, because that is unwise. You allow private enterprise to flourish in the education sector, because that is how we increase the numbers and increase our capacities, because we want to train more Kenyans. Those people, or those students who are in private universities are Kenyans, they are ours too. And it's important that when we are looking at a policy perspective, we look at policies that are not discriminative. The point I'm making is this, very simply, that we have decided we are not going to be discriminative in terms of the policy decisions we make. We will support private enterprise to flourish in university education, and where need arises, we actually deliberately, ourselves as government, incentivize private enterprise. For example, by giving vouchers to students and allowing them to register in private universities, because you can see the demand for university education in our country. And the notion that our public institutions, public universities are doing very badly, that also is an amazing conclusion. But take it from me, our public institutions are doing very well. Where we have challenges in terms of sharing resources and where support is needed, we always have to remain creative and keep working, as it were. We don't give up, because these challenges continue. You have noticed recently some of our universities are doing very innovative things. We have worked on PPPs, public-private partnerships, to provide, for example, more accommodation for our students, because the exchequer cannot raise money to build all the halls of residence that are needed by all our students. So we allow for universities to enter into PPPs with private developers who may be able to support us in providing accommodation. And we come in as government and support those universities to negotiate and structure PPP vehicles that enable them to have more infrastructure as we go forward. The whole idea here is we have to be reform-minded, more practical, more modern, and more focused on giving our people the opportunities they need to acquire higher education. And how do you do that? By ensuring that the policies that you implement are non-discriminative. That is why we say these days we are not worried about public or private. CUE, or the Commission for University Education, does not have a different standard for private and another one for public. It's one standard. For enrollment, for everything, one standard. For recruitment, for faculty, one standard. Because we are working in the same sector, in the same environment. And that's what we want to foster. The era where we used to frown at private enterprise and say, oh, maybe impose different levies on them or take time to process their papers or whatever, that is gone, because we want to provide capacity. That is really what we mean in this particular case. Asanteni sana, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Yes. Sorry, Professor Some. I think announced that we need to form the groups. Yeah. So they sit for 2 minutes.
Yeah, the working group.
Yeah. So you will actually work on the formation of the working group, and then we can carry on from there.
Thank you. Working group is made up by the chancellor, vice chancellor,